It all started during a routine, scheduled transfer. A couple of engineers approved a transaction that looked completely normal on their screens, but in that single fateful click, over $1 billion just vanished into thin air.
The exact amount? 401,347 Ethereum. Now, at the time, that was worth a staggering 1.5 billion US dollars. That made it the largest single crypto theft in history.
You see, the deception was flawless. The staff on duty at the crypto exchange Bybit were just following their normal multi-signature protocol. Their interface showed the funds moving from one company wallet to another just like any other day. It was only after the transaction was confirmed on-chain that the horrifying reality sunk in. The money was gone.
Now, this wasn't some kind of brute force attack. No, this was sophisticated. It was a surgical strike that actually exploited the very tools that were meant to provide security in the first place.
So here's how they pulled it off. The whole thing actually began weeks earlier. First, the hackers used social engineering to target a developer who was working for SafeWallet, which is the software Bybit used. Once they stole those credentials, they just waited. Then, on February 21st, as Bybit was getting ready for their transfer, the attackers injected a malicious script. This script created a fake signing interface, a total ghost image of the real one. So, when the engineers clicked approve, the UI secretly redirected all 401,347 ETH straight to the hacker's address.
And the precision of this attack was, well, pretty remarkable. This wasn't a smash and grab job. The attackers were only targeting one specific asset class, Ethereum. Bybit's wallets holding Bitcoin, US dollars, and all their other currencies were completely untouched. That just shows you how targeted this whole operation really was.
The second that theft was discovered, two clocks started ticking. One for the market, which was, about to totally panic, and another for the industry, which really needed to rally together.
As the news broke, a really stark contrast started to emerge. On one side, you had fear just ripping through the market. The price of Ether dropped almost 4%, and over 350,000 withdrawal requests flooded Bybit's system. But on the other side, something amazing happened, an unprecedented wave of support. Competing exchanges like OKX and KuCoin actually sent their security engineers to help, and industry leaders were publicly urging everyone to stay calm.
Bybit's response, for their part, was immediate and transparent. The CEO, Ben Zhao, went public right away, stating that all user funds were fully backed and that the company would absorb the entire $1.5 billion loss from its own reserves. This one act was absolutely crucial in preventing a complete meltdown. And industry insiders were quick to back this up. Connor Grogan from Coinbase pointed out the facts. Bybit held over $20 billion in assets. Its main cold wallets were totally secure, and, most importantly, it was processing withdrawals without any issues. The crucial point here was to distinguish Bybit from catastrophic failures like FTX, and that really helped reassure the market of its solvency. Okay, so with the immediate fire contained, the focus shifted. A global, on-chain manhunt began to track down those stolen billions. A whole coalition of public and private groups mobilized almost instantly. You had blockchain analytics firms like Chainalysis tracing the funds on-chain. Forensic teams from Signia and NCC Group were reverse engineering the attack itself. And independent sleuths like ZachXBT joined the hunt, right alongside official bodies like the FBI. The thieves, of course, immediately started washing the money. They used this really complex web of DeFi mixers to obscure the source, then cross-chain bridges to move funds between different blockchains, and token swaps to convert the stolen Ether into assets like Bitcoin and stablecoins. All of this made the trail incredibly difficult to follow. But the investigators, they had some successes. By coordinating with exchanges and global authorities, Chainalysis and the others were able to identify and freeze over $40 million of the stolen funds before the hackers could move it. It was proof that even on the blockchain, you can't always run and hide.
So as all these digital breadcrumbs were being pieced together, a familiar and frankly a deeply troubling suspect began to emerge from the shadows.
The investigation unfolded at an incredible pace. The hack happened on February 21st. Just 3 days later, the story was global. But only 2 days after that, on February 26th, both the independent analyst ZachXBT and the FBI officially pointed the finger at the exact same culprit. This escalated things from a simple theft to a major international incident.
The group responsible was the Lazarus Group, North Korea's notorious state-sponsored hacking syndicate, a group known for orchestrating some of the most audacious cyber heists in history.
And the evidence? It was damning. The on-chain laundering techniques, the specific mixers and the patterns they used, were a known signature of Lazarus. Wallet addresses involved in this heist showed historical links to their 2022 hack of the Ronin network. And then it was all confirmed when the FBI officially attributed the attack to a specific Lazarus subunit they call Trader.
Well, the revelation that a state actor was behind the theft elevated the entire event. It triggered major political fallout and, in the end, revealed a really strange paradox.
On May 19th, U.S. senators publicly labeled it the largest crypto theft ever, and they directly warned that these stolen funds could be used to evade sanctions and finance North Korea's illicit weapons programs. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was a matter of national security.
And this brings us to the central paradox of this whole story. On one hand, you have the largest crypto heist in history, but on the other, not a single customer lost a single cent. The crime was absolutely record-breaking, but the victim was, well, shockingly resilient.
Which, of course, raises the key question. How is that even possible? How does any company, let alone a crypto exchange, withstand a $1.5 billion punch and just keep standing?
The answer really lies in 4 pillars. First, Bybit had massive capital reserves. We're talking around $20 billion in assets, which allowed them to cover the loss internally. Second, their immediate and transparent communication prevented a total bank run. Third, they quickly mobilized liquidity partners to replenish their hot wallets. And finally, the sheer scale of industry-wide support gave them critical technical and moral backing.
So, in the end, the hackers walked away with a fortune, but they failed to cripple the platform. It almost became an unexpected real-world stress test. And it leaves us with a lingering question for the future. As these threats become more and more sophisticated, will resiliency be enough? Or was this simply a case of surviving a ghost that will inevitably return?